Right, hi and welcome to another post of this mk2 Jaguar wide-body two-door coupe, which I'm playing with, and the Land Rover 101. And as those who've been following my channel know, that I put both in because the things are mixed up during the week when I'm working on them, and I don't want two different channels at the moment. Anyway, that'll be a bit later on what I'm going to talk about. So the Jag seats, they're done. Eventually they're all covered. I've got the passenger side in. I had to take the driver's side out because the stereo that I put an Alpine stereo doubled in into the car. It has an handbrake wire, and I wired that into the handbrake wire for the dashboard, so when you pull it on, the light would come on. And I thought that it was a feed which would work operated, but it's not, it's an earth. So I've been messing around with that. So what I've done is the switch which goes into the car originally, which is that little thing, that didn't fit anyway because I'd modified the handbrake to move it further over and all the ratchet mechanism. But I was just going to remake the bracket and put the switch back in, but because the stereo won't operate fully on that switch with the wiring I've got, so I've had to make another one. So I'll put a picture in, wherever my son will put it in, of the switch that I've made. So it's a double micro switch. So one is to operate the light on the dashboard for when it comes on, and the other one is for the radio. So that I've been working on and getting that mounted. So that's what I've been doing with the Jag. Still not done the exhaust, but I will make this clear as why I've not done it. Been doing quite a bit of work on the Land Rover. Last week, me and my son, no, week before, sorry, a couple of weeks ago, we lifted it up onto the axle stands because when we had it in low box, we were just moving it around in the unit backwards and forwards just to see how things was going, which is not really much of a see how it's going because you can't get right far in here. But on low range was a bit of a metallic knocking noise or something, and I pulled the box apart and rebuilt it, and it was perfectly fine. So I was trying to work out what was going on. So up on the axle stands and going through the gears high and low range, and then we decided to check everything else that's on it. So the PTO for the winch, we couldn't get that to operate, so we were messing around trying to work out what was going on there. We eventually sorted that. The pipes that come from there's 3 pipes on it, on the switch. You have 2 pipes going to the actuator because it's not sprung loaded, it's vacuum actuated in or out is the actuator, vacuum actuator, and it's got a pipe that comes from the manifold on the engine, obviously to create vacuum. They were all over the place, so we spent a bit of time messing around with that. We've oiled it up today, the axles, and luckily no leaks. We had a couple of leaks, little weepy leaks on the gearbox. Strange, but we've just given the bolts a little bit more of a nip up, and we even put sealant on. So anyway, I think old stuff in it, but not pumping out, that's for sure. But I don't want any leaks if I can help it, so we've been doing that. Also on the front axle, when we rebuilt the front axle, we just nipped, well I'm saying just nipped, we tightened the actual drive flange. The drive flange that goes into the gearbox, the axle, the drive flange that goes into the axle, it has a compression sleeve. So that is a compression sleeve, and that goes onto the pinion, and then the drive flange, so the bearings go in and everything, and the drive flange goes on, and then you tighten it up and it compresses this compression sleeve to take out the slack of the bearings, the taper bearings, when you pull it all together. And that then sets the actual float. So we messed around with that because I got a new one from 101 Parts, and man alive, that was tightening it up to get it to compress to what we wanted. We had a bit of a messing around trying to work out the setting, because in the book it said between, I think it was 15 to 20 pound foot inch. Now there's no such thing as 50, if it was, we set it at mid-range, so we went to 18. So 18 pound foot inch, you can't have foot and inch together. And we went on AI and it just said that, oh, they used to write it like that. No, no, it was telling me something else. And when I set the torque wrench to 18 pound foot, it was like, no way is it that tight, because you have to rotate the flange to get to measure the resistance on the bearing when you've tightened it up, when you've compressed this to the right amount. And I will be happy to be said I'm wrong here, but we worked it out. It gave a pound foot figure, but then you had a special adjuster tool to work out the actual resistance pressure when you turned it. And that's with the, what they call it, the disengagement of the drive shafts. You're supposed to do it with just the pinion in it before you put the diff in, but I wasn't going to take the diff out to set it. So the backlash, we use the backlash, there's a little bit of backlash in it, we use that bit of movement to measure how much resistance was on its rotation. Because all you're doing is, you could use this special tool or a spring gauge. And so we got a spring gauge and we calculated it. If you divide the pound foot by 12 and it said inch, we used one of the 12. So we ended up with I think it was 1.6 pound on the spring gauge. We did that, it felt okay. So, but if anybody can tell me any more on tightening them up and getting the right thing or the proper tool, it went in the manual, but I couldn't find anything actually it looked was going to tell me exactly this is the tool for using on that axle. But anyway, it does feel good. So we've done that. Right, so like I say, it doesn't appear too much. Oh, what we have been doing as well, the stowage, all these bits here, I showed you a video of the back where the wheels are going to stow in to the actual sides above the rear wheel boxes. So I was working on that. So that's what we've got so far. Not finished, but getting there. But my TIG plant went down. So this is the oh woe me part of the video after I've explained this. So we've got this one built in shape, it just needs the inserts putting in. So all the pieces we cut out. So we cut all the pieces out from those drawings what we had. We fastened them together to make the pairs so that perfectly equal. And then we bent them in the folder. So I staggered a bend to make the radius. And so that's how I got that like that. So the inserts, as inserts are going on the inside. So you've seen these before, those that's watched. I put in part of the video with the CAD work I'd done to do all these drawings, I inserted those pictures. But this is one of them. That's the profile opened up. And we can see that here. So that's a piece of steel. Let me just get that so you can see. So that's that piece. That then, when it's formed, turns into that there, which is that. So that, when it's folded in the bender, so like I said, I do staggered bends to make a radius. So that is that. And then that goes in there. So that's to go in there. And then there's a back plate on here. I haven't cut out yet. I've got to get that cut out. Where the wheel will then bolt to it when it stows it away. So those are the things that we're doing. So all these pieces, I've still got more to cut out. But you can see I'm making one there at the moment, which same thing, I bend it in the bender bit by bit, and then a little bit of hammering here and there, and then, you know, for final fitting. To make some of these, we've just made some simple templates, and we drew around these on because of the numbers and that, and to get them equal, and then we join them together and clean them up and everything to finish off so they're all equal. So all those templates down there. Right, so that's what we've been doing. Doesn't appear to be much. We'll put some pictures in so you can see the bits and pieces we've been at. Since I last did my video, things have been a bit up and down and all over the place. My TIG welder died twice on me and she's dead now. I'm waiting for a capacitor. It's a 5000 microfarad by 100 volt. I did order one. It's a 2-pin. They sent me a 4-pin, which is absolutely useless, and they're not getting back to me. So that's wound me up. So I've got a dead plant. So that wound me up. So I couldn't finish getting on with those because I'm TIGging those up. I'm not MIG welding them. Over the last month and a half, my landlord's put my rent up on this place, and so he's priced me out. It's 1.5 times what I was paying, and next year it goes up again, so it'll be double, and year after. So I'm ended up spending a lot of money that I can't stomach. So I have been looking for a new another industrial property I can go into, but I'm not having any luck. And so where I'm at now, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with all this stuff I've got in here. I don't want to stop it, and I enjoy doing my videos for those to see what I'm getting up to, which some people say it's not a lot, but I'm not a rusher. But yeah, so it might be a point where I stop doing these videos because I have nowhere to do them. I'm really struggling trying to find something in the price range, and also because of what I do in the car game, a lot of industrial properties won't have the car industry, and even though I don't do any work other than my own stuff, but so they won't have car trading. And plus it's still the price. Everything has absolutely gone through the roof. And my landlord is no different. He's like I say, he's raping me now. So yeah. One of the things I've been trying to do, I've been trying to find a property. I've been trying to buy a property. I've been looking in Scotland for a property, and I went up, and I will put we made some video footage of the property I went to look at. This was up just above Dumfries. It was about a 10-minute drive out of Dumfries, going north. An old mill, which I was hoping was going to be big enough for what I wanted to do, but it wasn't. And there were all sorts of restrictions against the mill, even though it's not a listed building, but the council was wanting specific things done, and there were things anyway. It wasn't what I expected it to be, so that was a bit of a downer really, but still looking. Don't know what's happening. Life it's in the flux at the moment. I'm going back to Taiwan because my wife's Taiwanese. I'm sure I will have mentioned it somewhere in my videos in the past. My wife's Taiwanese, so every other year we go back to Taiwan for a couple of months. So we have been looking at maybe going back to Taiwan. It's not something I want to do because one of the things in Taiwan, you can't drive any right-hand drive vehicles, classic or anything over over there, or specialist vehicles being specialist kind of licenses or something for what I do. So everything I've done here would be pretty much useless back in Taiwan. Yeah, it's gone a bit silly really with everything, but I will continue to try and do these videos, and hopefully I can find something. Anyway, we'll go over to the Jag and you'll be able to see hopefully something what I've done there, and like I say, I'll put some pictures in. And on the Land Rover, like I say, it's just been general stuff, chasing stuff up and that, so there's really nothing to show there, except for what I've done there really, which appears to be not right much, but there is quite a bit of work me and my son have done there, because we had to cut all that out by hand and grind it and file it up, because like I said, I got to the point now with the cost of this place, I literally couldn't afford to get all that lot profile cut out, which my son says, why don't we just get all this sent away in profile cut, because we can't afford it. And this is not a flipping cap out thing, it's not that at all. I enjoy doing this off my own back, and that's the way it'll be. I've had people say to me, why don't you monetize this channel? I don't get enough views to get anything near what I require. And the videos need to be better to draw more people in. So, but I'm grateful for those who are there, and your input, it's always appreciated, and those that's been patient with me over the years, especially for the Jag, because that's what this channel was really about, was about the Jag. So those that have been patient, please continue to be patient, and hopefully I can finish the Jag off. Otherwise she's going to go into storage, and if she doesn't go into storage, if I decide, because my son was a bit annoyed, well, upset and annoyed, because I said I'm at a point now where I'm just going to sell it off, just get rid of it all and just call it a day and just go live in Taiwan. I could sell everything up and just go on, but that sounds extremely defeatist, and it is, and my son was right, so we're going to try and not do that. Anyway, that's the oh woe is me. We'll look at the Jag and let's take some pictures, and then that's really about it. This, like I say, it really is a short one. Like I say, I'll put the bits of video footage in of the mill, and I'll give you an idea of what I'm trying to achieve and do. I don't have a great deal of money. In fact, I hardly any money really, but yeah. I'll put that in and you can see what we're trying to do, and hopefully, you know, it's something I want to build. And there are other things I want to do as well, but anyway, I'm not going to go down all those avenues. Go to the car. As you can see, seat is in. I think she looks quite good. I've just tried to get my son sorted out so he can see the angles, so in the contrast with the aluminium framework against everything else, just to try and make it lighter and give it a touch of something, and that kind of GT car look. But yeah, there you go, she's in. And the other one would have been in, but I'm having to mess around with the handbrake switching and everything so I can get the head unit working properly. Because apparently it's all about, you can't mess around with the head unit, you can only turn it up and down and change channels and sat nav that's in it. Everything else pretty much you can't play with. You know, the settings and stuff, it's got to be parked up with the handbrake on. And so I've got to go back into my wiring and see what I've got to do to make it both my stereo work and my handbrake and brake level, low fluid brake level light to come on separately. But I'll take a picture of the micro switch and I'll put that in, because you really can't see anything other than a picture I put in, but we'll do that. But yeah, so there you go. Seating and other side has been in, but it's now out because of the handbrake. So there you go. Right, so thanks for everybody who's watching. Really appreciated those that's, like I said, it's patient with the content on the channel, hoping to get things done. I want to get things done and that, but we'll get in there, and hopefully we'll continue to get to the end and hopefully do other things. I've got other things in pipeline I'd like to do and show on YouTube channel and make it bigger and better, but that's further down avenue. But once again, thank you for everybody that's watching, and yeah, and your input and everything really. You all take it steady, and we'll see you hopefully when there's another video, when I've got maybe a bit more done. take it steady.